I had to share that with you all. It is just really beautiful, hey? I never ever get tired of that. So first of all, I want to thank all of you who over the last couple of weeks have wrote to me, thanking me for the blog on Spirit Meets Adventure. Guys, it's an absolute pleasure. When I set out to do Spirit Meets Adventure, the whole idea was to kind of inspire and infuse and create the cohesion between the consulting, the spiritual aspect of what I do, and weave it into the adventuring and create a kind of cohesion between the two, and really kind of show everyone that actually the impossible becomes the possible. And that was the whole idea of it. And I just kind of really love writing, but what I was finding was the first year I wanted to do everything, you know, do the adventuring, do the consulting, do the writing, but of course it's not possible to do everything all at once, and that's, you know, a progressive journey, and it's something that I've really kind of taken from this, and it's this kind of second year, although, you know, I've been doing the consulting for the best part of 26 years now, but Spirit Meets Adventure was absolutely born out of that, and it was the two very things that have taught me the most, and it was then bringing them together. And what I've kind of really taken from this second year is that all of what I kind of do with the adventuring, it has its seasons, you know, and I still kind of during the winter months get out there on that bike, and still have a few overnighters, but there's a kind of sense of the days are a lot shorter, the nights are a lot longer, so you kind of take that naturally, that very much that introspective journey, and writings come from it. So, you know, what I've kind of really been able to kind of feel for and do is that, you know, adventuring completely during the summer months, the days are longer out there having the most amazing adventures, the consulting always continues, and then come the winter is then be able to kind of write and take all those experiences, all that kind of gold and wealth from all of that, and then kind of share it all and write about it and share those experiences and talk about them, and it just naturally has come together. So I really want to thank all of you for taking the time to write to me, and express your gratitude and thanks. There's never nothing going on, there's always something going on. But it is absolutely beautiful up here today, and I'm going to take this ride around the lake, and I'm going to weave it onto another ride that drops me down to a beautiful old ancient mill pond, and then weave back through an old part of town and back home. So yeah, it's just really beautiful to be able to do that. But I really appreciate, you know, one of the things with the blog that I've put together on Spirit Meets Adventure is that whole idea of it was when I first started it a couple of years ago, and then kind of found that I didn't have the time to do everything, was that, and that's the important point I'm going to talk about, is that the whole idea was, you know, imagine if you're kind of writing a message in a bottle and then casting out to sea, hoping and knowing that those who need to receive that message are going to find that bottle and find that message. And that's kind of how I feel about the blog, is you kind of write the message and then you kind of cast it out to sea. So I really appreciate all of you that have taken the time to kind of share your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences with how those messages and how those blogs have touched you. So one of the things that I've really kind of picked up from some of the interactions on the page, and some of the kind of shared experiences and messages, is that one of the things that people have been talking about is time. and sometimes that feeling of not maybe having enough time for self. And this is something that I kind of have been thinking about a lot, especially through adventuring, is that you kind of, when you take those journeys and you have those experiences, you kind of step outside of that merry-go-round that seems to be really at the forefront of modern living. It's a bit like myself now today. You know, I've had a very productive week, you know, and I'm gonna really kind of express to you the difference between, you know, sometimes the language we use as well. So, you know, I could have said that I've had a very busy week, and it has been, but it's been a productive week. And what I've kind of really learned is, even like today, you know, it's at the end of that highly productive week. You know, there's been some very important consultations delivered. There's been some really great content been wrote, shared, expressed. There's been some meetings that have been held. I've had some time with some good friends, with those nearest and dearest to me, and I've also cut some videos, and now, right now, as I cut this video with you, this is where I am. Okay, and the thing with that is that I make this just as important as everything I do. So it's about kind of sometimes stopping, pausing, reflecting, looking at your week ahead, and then, you know, kind of prioritizing it and saying to yourself, what is a priority to me this week? What is it that I may possibly, so if you kind of look forwards and you look through your schedule and you're overwhelmed and you feel you just don't have no time, the greatest thing and one of the best things you can do is just literally just stop, pause, reflect, grab hold of that schedule of yours and say to yourself, okay, what within it is a priority? What also can I say no to, and who do I say no to? And reprioritize. And it's kind of grabbing hold of it in a way, kind of putting yourself in the driving seat of it and taking charge of it. Kind of another way of looking at it is protecting your time. Is automatically, sometimes we say yes, and then we kind of just feel completely immersed and absolutely overwhelmed by what we've committed to. So what we want to do is kind of put the brakes on, really kind of stop. And if you're somebody that is so used to saying yes, is how about when someone next asks you, is you kind of say, do you know what, can I take a little while and I'll get back to you? And then have a think about it. And you watch the difference you'll start to feel, because sometimes, you know, one of the hardest things to do, one of the hardest things to say is actually no. And that kind of keys into a whole lot of other things, you know. You're somebody that wants to please, you're somebody who doesn't want to let anybody down, you're somebody who doesn't want to say no, but you know, you've got to also say yes to you, and also make you and the things that are really vitally important to you a priority too. And it's okay, you know, I'm in the place with my kind of career and with the work that I do. I'm in a place of giving. It is absolutely an innate part of what I do, but what I've really learned over the years of doing all that I do is that for me to be able to deliver in the way that I do, to the standard that I do, is I've also learned that I have to absolutely give back to myself, and also allow, and this is a really important point, allow also myself to receive and allow others to give to me. And I kind of absolutely see that in my world, you know, is that there's an output stream of energy to all those that I work with and those I consult, those amazing people that I get to meet and interact with every day. At the same time, I'm kind of drawing something from that, because I'm always growing, I'm always evolving, always learning. I'm consulting in a way now that I wasn't maybe consulting 5 years ago. Although that was of immense value, it's always growing, it's always evolving. We never stop learning, we never stop growing if we allow ourselves to be open to that progressive nature that is life. If we continue to see it, that we've always got things to learn and grow from, we always will learn and grow. So there's an output stream of energy, but also, I'm very blessed to have some amazing, incredible people in my world, which also support and give and share, and then that becomes perpetual positivity, and it's allowing yourself to kind of really be open to that. I had an experience when I was learning to kind of walk again after my second operation, and I was approaching some doors, and I was on crutches, and I approached these doors and I was struggling, and my dad was standing behind me, and he gently just kind of whispered to me, and I was thinking to myself, why isn't he not opening the door? And he gently whispered to me, and he said to me, do you know, Shane, when are you going to learn to ask for help? Okay, and that was huge. In that moment I completely got it, and I realized how determined I am, how stubborn I am, how I don't like to ask for help. And the thing is, with asking for help, it's actually a strength. Some people see it as a weakness, and what I kind of learned through that experience is that it's not at all weakness. It's actually a huge strength. Someone that is kind of wise would be wise enough to actually reach out and ask for help. Actually, it's a sign of a good leader, actually knowing when that you need help, and that's one thing adventuring is really taught me, is that kind of know your limitations, know them very solidly, know them very well. Know those areas within your life that you need to kind of fortitude or strengthen or grow and evolve, and those aspects of you that actually are just innately, naturally shining, but the thing is, it's all about kind of stopping and slowing down. If you kind of look going back, I'm talking to a generation of people that will remember that when we all only use landlines, when we all just use landlines. So you kind of would make a phone call, you would either reach that person or you wouldn't, and if they had an answer machine, you would leave an answer machine message, and at some point they would get back to you on your landline. And most of these these conversations were had over an evening, or over a weekend when people were available, and it was a very different world, because everything wasn't so instant as it is now. So everything is kind of instant, so it's instant communication, instant movement. The world is moving at complete speed, and if you kind of think back to a time when you would drop that message and leave that message if they had an answer machine, not everyone did. The world was moving a lot slower, so you had a sense of emotional space. So nowadays, with the speed that is moving, as Matt says, and I've always remembered this, is that you either moving in time or you're moving through time. And I think so many of us are literally just moving through time with that sense of speed, and what that does is it keys in a sense of demand, that you feel that you've got to be there, you've got to be accessible, you've got to get back to that person hugely quickly, hugely fast, because it's all moving at speed. And I think what that does is that actually creates a anxiety response within the physiology of the body. I'm absolutely sure of it, that nowadays modern day stress is because of everything is moving at speed, and there's this kind of unseen demand that is there, that keys into your physiology within the body, which creates a heightened sense of stress. I'm absolutely convinced of it. So sometimes what we need to do is stop, pause, reevaluate, relook at our priorities, and know our limitations. let them be healthy limitations. Just know your own limitations, and don't allow those demands to be loaded on you. And every now and again, just literally just unplug. You know, that's one thing about the adventuring, is that you literally just unplug, you know, and in a way what you do is you reset. But what we need to do is not get to a point where we're crashed, completely wiped out. Because the other thing is, you know, and I see this quite often with some of the people that I get the honour to work with, is the only time they rest is when they are burnt out or hugely unwell and taken to their bed. And at that level, they have felt they've got the justification then to say no, because they don't feel guilty. These are real things to kind of pause about, guys, look at, reflect, kind of extract, if you like, and just kind of see how it sits with you. But what a beautiful day, and as I say at the top of the video, it's a great pleasure, and thank you all for your wonderful feedback. And as we're coming towards the end of the year, I want to thank you all for being a part of what I do, and following what I do. All your support and appreciation is greatly appreciated. And I'm just going to leave you with the view for a moment and say my goodbyes. Have a wonderful day, guys. Take care.